It's too perfect.
It lacks a certain something.
Definition, Edward. It's lacking definition. And it's so aggressively monochromatic.
Don't mind Martine.
Someone has to keep you honest, Jeffrey.
You must see that emptiness is the whole point. It's an invitation to fill that emptiness. The genius is that Caldwell forces the viewer to become part of his process.
I don't know. Still seems a little bleak. Too much white. I mean, negative space, too much negative space. And the composition is so traditional, static. I can barely tell if it's even a Caldwell or not.
It's almost so conceptual, I'm not quite sure what the concept is.
Martine, just retire already. Edward, see, it's more formal than traditional, really. That's the kind of rigor that has made Kenneth Caldwell the most successful artist of the past decade. And owning his work is the first step toward becoming a serious collector.
Whatever happened to that assistant you had? The cute brown-haired one?
She had to quit, unfortunately. My new assistant, Sam, is tending to a few things.
Best to get a fresh one when you can. They wear out so quickly.
I have to take this.
Excuse me for a moment, gentlemen. You're late. I told you I needed you today.
Yes, well, someone has to make sure the right people show up. I was making calls and checking the RSVPs.
Speaking of which, how's the crowd out front looking?
Large and impatient?
At least there's that. Now I need you back in the gallery.
I'm on it.
Caldwells practically sell themselves. Thank God you have no idea how much my daughter's art school costs.
That's why we picked him. I mean, you picked him.
And focus on pushing the booze. That always helps.
I think I can handle it. Remember, doors open at 6, and the photographer will be by before that.
So sorry about that, gentlemen. You know, it's a bit hectic on opening day. Now, where were we?
You were attempting to justify this piece before your girl interrupted.
Oh, right. And you were preparing to bless us with your glowing review.
Oh, it's awful.
I agree. It's awe-inspiring. He really captured something here.
No. I mean, it's awful.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, it's hyper-minimal, derivative, childish nonsense. When I started writing about Caldwell, he was doing revolutionary things. But this isn't minimalism, it's lazy. It's an imitation of an imitation of an imitation. This sort of garbage is a fad, a passing trend. And I'm sorry it has to be your show, Jeffrey. But it's my reputation.
Is this the good stuff? Let's switch to the cheap bottles for the crowd. Might as well have one. Enjoy it while I can. Martine is gonna savage the show.
He's been writing glowing things about Caldwell since his first show here. There has to be a reason why he's doing this now.
Yeah, well, he's doing it.
We can always make a sale later.
If there is a later.
What's that mean?
Not that the money is any of your concern, but we need this sale. Or else, I'll be forced to start cutting overhead.
If we convince Phillips to buy the piece, Martine's review won't matter.
Edward? He's probably getting ready to leave as we speak. Hey, whatever you do, just be careful.
It's such a shame.
I know. The wine is terrible.
We do have a nice bottle of champagne for when we close a sale, but I was talking about the piece.
What about it?
Well, you were gonna buy it, no? I wouldn't want you to miss out.
Well, the truth is I was considering buying the piece, but if Martine writes that review, it'll be worthless.
Maybe this body of work isn't for people like Martine. He wasn't entirely wrong. This piece is a part of a trend. A trend you could invest in from the start. Let me ask you this. Why did you like it initially?
Well, despite what Martine was saying, I enjoyed the use of space. The way it,
What?
Well, it's like what Jeffrey was saying. The way it invites you to,
Well, think on it.
I saw how you kept Edward from leaving. And I'm up here so you can attempt to convince me to write a good review.
Not at all. If you want to write a bad review, there isn't anything I can do to change your mind.
Then why are we here?
I want to know why.
Didn't you hear me down there?
I did.
Well, then you have your answer. I don't like the piece, which means the piece is bad, which means I write a bad review.
But you've been one of Caldwell's biggest supporters for years.
Which is why denouncing him now will have such an impact. People have a short attention span. You have to keep reminding them who you are or they forget.
And if Phillips buys the piece, won't that mean your review has no impact?
Unlikely.
If I were you, I'd go after Edward directly.
Why tell me this?
As long as people show up, I get paid the same no matter what happens.
Keep it up, and you may find yourself with a real job.
Hey everyone, just need to get a few pictures real quick. All right, if I can get you all together here, that would be amazing. Yeah, come on, here, need you there, thank you. Let's back up.
Why did that guy just smash my drone?
You'd have to ask him.
What are the two of you talking about?
I was trying to figure out why my drone just got smashed.
cares? Why is your boss trying to make the painting worthless?
I think he's afraid that no one's listening to him anymore.
Whatever.
Okay, so what are we gonna do about it?
I've been trying to do something about it.
Which is?
All right, thank you.
Get them to fight so that one of them will back down.
I don't know if that's such a good idea.
Guess what? I'll be buying it. Please. There's nothing you can do to stop me. What are you gonna do? Huh? Oh, you've got your book.
You can't buy this piece. I won't let you.
Let me. How are you gonna stop me? By writing a review that no one's cared about for years?
You bastards are all the same. You make a few millions in finance and then you're a goddamn Rockefeller. Why don't you do us all a favor and leave the good taste to people with some class?
You know, I'd be careful not to confuse your opinion with the truth.
Oh, and don't pretend that you're something that you're not. You don't belong in here.
I know plenty about the art market.
You see? That's my point. Real collectors actually collect. This is just another fucking commodity to you.
Oh, you want to talk about money? Fine, let's talk about money. I may not know as much about art as the great Martin de Salva, but all of this only happens because of my money.
You can't buy taste. I don't care how many zeros are in your fucking bank account.
You should care, because some of those zeros happen to represent my 35% ownership of Mediacom. You know, the company that recently acquired your magazine. How long you think you'd be able to work for them if you piss me off?
You can't fire me, you fucking...
You're going to write a glowing review of this show, or you're going to write nothing. You understand? You too.
I am so sorry. I have no idea what it's gotten into Marciona.
No, I'm a generous man, so I'm willing to look past how I've been treated here today. And I'll be buying that piece at half the list price.
I really can't.
I'm walking out of here with it today.
The show's about to open. We already have a crowd outside, Edward.
Oh, that's fine. You know, I'll just go and tell every art collector in the city what happened in here today. About the shitstorm that went down. Well, what are you doing? Go get the paperwork.
I told you to be careful. I told you.
It wasn't supposed to.
You know what I tell my daughter when she gives me that excuse? I tell her it's not what you intended to do that matters, it's what you did. On Monday, we're gonna have a long talk about your future here.
Excuse me, Mr. Phillips? I need you to look over some paperwork in the office. Now, this is our standard contract, but we'll need to charge a small fee for rehanging the second piece.
What second piece?
Early in his career, Caldwell painted this for Jeffrey as a thank you for putting on a show. Personally, I like this one better anyway.
What's the list price?
It's not a part of our offering. It doesn't have a price.
Everything has its price.
It's a private commission. It's not for sale. But I can ask Jeffrey.
I want both pieces.
I told you we can't sell it. We need one for the show. You saw the crowd out
Fine,
there.
just sell me the early piece. I'll come back for the other one.
I don't think we can do that. I'm sorry, but...
Do I need to remind you that putting this place out of business would take less time than this conversation?
Fine.
Darling.
Did you just sell my daughter's painting?
He couldn't tell the difference.
For how much?
You won't have to be cutting back on overhead anytime soon. Remember, we have that long talk on Monday about my future.